Hey, thank you for joining me for the Equipped for Life podcast today. Do me a favor, go subscribe to this page and share. I have a question for you today. Where is the richest place in the world? How would you answer that question? A lot of people probably would say America, with all the industry that it has and the capitalism and the resources. Possibly you would say Saudi Arabia or somewhere in the Middle East that produces oil. Another thought people would have would maybe be China. China has all the manufacturing and production. What if I told you it was neither? What if I told you it was probably the most unlikely place that you would ever imagine? Listen to this quote. Dr. Miles Monroe, he stated that the graveyard is the richest place in the world. Imagine that. Why is it the richest place in the world? It contains all the untapped potential, all the ideas that were never developed, books that were never written, businesses that were never started. Imagine the potential wealth and success that's in a graveyard that was never tapped into, that people never even started what they had the potential to do. Many people, and I believe probably most people, die having never even begun what they were put on the earth to do. That is sad. They die without discovering and knowing their purpose. And so all that purpose goes to the grave with them. Think about problems. I mean, if you look at the world today, you may think we have a drug problem. You may think we have a poverty problem. You may think we have a relationship problem. What I've discovered is this. What we really have is a purpose problem. Because purpose, knowing your purpose, causes you to govern your life. If you know your purpose, you're able to say no to things that you need to say no to, such as addictions and so on. So I'm convinced that the real problem in the earth, the source of most of the problems that we see, it's a purpose problem. People have never discovered why they're in the earth. It's a purpose problem. So what I want to do today, I want to look at some principles concerning purpose and help you discover your purpose. The first thing I want you to understand is God never creates anything without a purpose. He creates nothing without purpose. In the book of Genesis, we clearly see this. It's the book of beginnings. It's where it all started. But we see that God had a purpose for absolutely everything He created. Let me show you what I mean. And if you look in Genesis, it makes this very clear that when He created everything in those 6 days, purpose was contained in those things. He created it on purpose. See, that's what I want you to know today. He created you on purpose for a purpose. So let's look at the book of Genesis. First of all, the earth was covered in water. And God gathered all the water into one place so that He could bring forth the earth. Why did He do this? It's very clear in the scripture. He had a purpose for the ground. It says He did this so that the ground would bring forth grass and seed and trees to produce. Hey, that's purpose. Then we see that God created the sun and the moon for purpose. It clearly says He created them for signs and seasons and days and years. He created the sun to rule the day, and the moon was created to rule the night. God set them to give light upon the earth. You know what that is? That's purpose. He created water. He left some of the water. And it says he left them for moving creatures to fill the waters. That's purpose. Then we find man. Man was created for dominion. He had a purpose. So whatever God creates is born with a natural inclination toward what it was created for. This is proof of the Creator, number one. He created you, and on the inside of you, there is purpose. Something is on the inside of you that you are naturally drawn to. For example, dogs are not taught to bark. I've had lots of dogs. I've never had to teach one of them to bark. It was on the inside of them. Roosters are not taught to crow. Birds are not taught to fly. See, what I'm saying is, on the inside of you, there's something already placed in you by the Creator. And the key is to begin to pay attention and discover what that natural inclination is on the inside of you. You were born with something on the inside of you. And the reality is, sometimes life covers it up. Life around us begins to happen. And what happens is it drowns out that original inclination that's on the inside of us. But if we go back to our birth, we're born with this natural inclination on the inside. And what happens is, it's been drawing you since you were born. Since your early life, there was something underneath all the clutter and underneath all the chaos that was drawing you, that you had an inclination to do. This was put in you by your Creator. So I want you to think back for a moment. When you were very, very young, what did you pretend to do? What was your pretend time? What was your playtime? Can I tell you something? That was probably an inclination on the inside of you as to what God called you to be. It's your purpose was speaking. I can tell you that's the case for me. When I was very, very small, my pretend was to be doing what I'm doing right now, this minute. But see, what happens is that's naturally in there, but when life begins to happen and chaos begins to happen and we go through the ups and downs of life, sometimes it gets covered up. It gets smothered out. And I want to help you discover today what it is that is on the inside of you, the natural inclination that you have that may have been covered up by life and the storms of life.